I look goofy. So today's the 11th of October. So just as like a closing note, I'm not gonna probably film today. If I do, it'll be a different episode. But as a closing note to Cape Cod, me and my partner, we didn't like break up. The exact quote I had used was, and this is from me to them. They got very frustrated because I can't perform, didn't want to perform. I don't have a sex drive. They got frustrated and they said, it doesn't really matter what they said, but I didn't really like the attitude of it or their frustration, which like their frustration is understandable, but it irked me. And so what I had said to them was, I don't know if we should be in a sexually intimate relationship anymore. And that was enough to really trigger a lot of emotions between us, obviously. I mean, that's like not something that you just casually say, and I didn't say it casually, and I meant it, and I wasn't saying it to be coercive or to gain the upper hand in any regard, or to punish, or anything like that. I legitimately didn't know. And so we went to the beach together, and we ended up spending like 3 or 4 hours there, actually, like quite a while talking. And we came to the conclusion that like we both really do love each other, but I can't compromise my position or integrity when it comes to my own sexuality, or more specifically my dysphoria towards it. Like, it just isn't enjoyable. It's not pleasurable for me. And if it's not a mutual sexual relationship, then why are we doing it? You know what I mean? And so the discussion was had that like maybe we'll continue to try to figure out ways that they can have the intimacy that they want, and I can try to mitigate the dysphoria. For example, toys. Like, I've never used a strap-on. I never really wanted to. And truthfully, I don't think that's going to solve the problem, because for me, it's like I'm not attracted to them because I'm not attracted to the universe anymore. Like, there's not really, like, I don't look at people and think like, that's hot. Like, I remember a time, and this is a lot of information, but I remember a time when I was about their age, when I would have to touch myself or touch others or try to get laid like literally every day. And I haven't had sexual urges at all. Like, I've been pretty much asexual for the better part of 6 months now. And so it's been kind of a shit show, trying to date someone with a really high sex drive when I'm sexually dead inside. And so the discussion was had, like, do we continue to have a sexually intimate relationship? We both decided that we're first and foremost, we love each other. Second, we're both really afraid to be alone and to just dissolve the intimacy that we've built. And we both really need and want that intimacy together. And so we're going to try to continue a relationship, because getting rid of everything just because sex doesn't work doesn't make sense at this time. And in the future, it may come to pass that just is the breaking factor, and we go our separate ways or become just friends, etc. We don't really know what that could or will look like. And it's not a discussion we're going to have at this time, because we're not interested in breaking up. It's not really what either of us would want. So basically, where we're at now, I slept over at their house. That wasn't originally, my plan was not to originally sleep over. I gotta turn my defroster on. It's getting dangerous out here. Okay, sorry about that. It's fogging up a lot is all. It's really early. It's 7:11 in the morning. Like, literally it's 7:11. And I'm on my way down a mountain into New York. I'm about to pass the border. I may have actually already passed. I may be back in New York. But yeah, so I slept over, and like we had the snuggliest night. And like that's what we both love. Like, we both love snuggling each other. We both love hugging and kissing each other. They also love sex. I wish I could love sex. I love the idea of loving sex, but I don't have any sexually charged ideas. Yeah, welcome back to New York. That time. So we don't really know what it's going to look like together if they're not getting their sexual fix from me. We're poly. We've always been poly, but we've been kind of mutually exclusive to each other just because that's how circumstances of life have guided us. We don't have, like, we have a trust, between each other more than we have, like, conditionalized the rules of engagement, per se. So they're free to go off and get their fix from other people. It doesn't concern me as long as they're safe, and I have no reason whatsoever to assume that they would be unsafe. And if such a time comes to pass where they do find somebody else, and they, fall intimately in lust and love with them, and feelings towards me recede like a tide would, so be it. We had discussed a while back, me and my partner, about how I thought that the relationship would wilt like yarrow. Yarrow is my favorite flower. It smells really nice after it lignifies, but it isn't in bloom anymore, and whatever is left standing is still beautiful, but it isn't in bloom. And I think that's kind of the state of our relationship right now. It's like we're both still enjoying it, but it's not in bloom, and it probably never will bloom again, and that's just kind of the course of life. And we're both okay with that, but there was a lot of crying yesterday, a lot of holding each other, and a lot of, apologizing and just discussions. And, there's a desperation to it, but we're both just, desperate to not be alone and be abandoned, but neither of us are interested in being alone or abandoning each other. And even if it should come to pass, and this was a critical part of the discussion, even if it comes to pass that we just don't hook up anymore and we don't really try to be sexually intimate, we still will probably want intimacy of some variety. Friends with benefits is such a shitty term. What we want to be is intimate friends, and I think that that's going to be probably how it ends up, and that's kind of how it's been. And there's no real reason to try to nuance the labels or the conditions or the boundaries of the relationship past what they've already kind of been. Yeah, fuck your speed trap, bro. Fuck your speed trap. I pay attention to speed traps because I know where they are. So I came around that mountain going 60, and I slowed down to 40, and sure enough, he was there. So the state troopers love getting the out-of-staters, right across the border. The first thing in, oh, hey, you're fucked. So, yeah, I just wanted to catch, my vlog up on it. It's not really all business, but yeah, I do kind of keep it like a diary. And it's also, I think, important to document for other people so that they, oh, man, I knew there was a fucking Stewart's. I stopped, oh, man, I'm pissed. So I went to Shell, and I'm boycotting Shell. I've been boycotting Shell. This is the first time I've broken my boycott on gas in so fucking long. I also boycott ExxonMobil. So Shell and ExxonMobil, they can go fuck themselves. And BP. Now, that isn't to say that the other, nuanced corporations or whatever they're called, subsidiaries or, whatever the fucking word is. That's not to say that those ones aren't also equally as bad, if not maybe worse. Because I don't really know where they source their gas, but I know that I'm boycotting the other ones. So, it may just be that it's inescapable when you're buying gas to not support, really, really shitty practices and just capitalist notions, etc. And, but I know that I'm boycotting Shell, BP, and Exxon. So, y'all can go look up why. From the Exxon Valdez spill to the myriad of other problems with those other companies. Anyways, so that's really all I wanted to say. I got to concentrate on driving. It's getting really foggy, and I'm actually the only car on the road right now, so I don't have, lights ahead of me that I can watch anymore. And I'm going to get back to my podcast that's been playing in my ears that I've just been ignoring and kind of talking over. Yeah, thanks for joining. This has been Rainbows and Razor Blades. I hope you guys enjoyed my view of Cape Cod. I hope you have enjoyed joining me and my partner in our adventures together. They definitely do consent, mind you, to my vlogging and to being on camera and such. So, yeah, we'll be back another time. We'll probably be back with the next episode at the cemetery, and it'll be the first fall episode at the cemetery, and it's going to be so beautiful. I'm really excited. So by the time you see this, it'll probably be November, and the state of my relationship may be completely different. It may be the same. I really don't know what to expect, but at least as it goes for today, October 11th, 2022, I'm pretty happy. I still have a partner. It's how I want it. And we'll see how going forward that works out for me, even though I'm sexually dead. So this is Rainbows and Razor Blades. Meow. We'll be back again soon. So to just finish off the story, we ended up hooking up on the beach. They ended up kind of walking away from me because they just needed space. And after a minute or two, I also needed space. I ran after them on the beach, and I didn't even realize I was crying, I guess. And they turned and they looked at me, and I literally don't. I haven't felt like that really more than maybe a few times in my life. Like, my knees just completely went out from under me, and I fell. Like, it was very dramatic. Like, I fell to my knees and just curled into a ball and just was sobbing hysterically. And they came in, they comforted me, and we talked things over. Yeah, we ended up hooking up on the beach, and it was extremely dysphoric for me. But, like, I wanted to, like, reconsummate things, or whatever the word is. But I also just thought it was kind of hot, you know. And, but it was a weird mixture for me, because it was, like, peak dysphoria mixed with, like, peak fetish of, like, being on a beach. And no one else was around. We made damn sure of that. Like, there was seriously no one else around. And, yeah, so that's kind of the whole story. Home sweet home.
Yeah, you can film it.
Well,
Sarah's
it's more just
reaction to a sink pull-up thing that didn't work, that you can just put it on and work, is so ridiculous. She needs to get herself under control and think a little
That's
bit
my
better.
father.
Good. Show that to all your friends. Go ahead.
I don't show this.
Show all your friends how you came home, didn't say a fucking thing. You didn't even say hi. You didn't say anything, and then you're over the top with how your little problem is a problem. The little minor thing, minor, super minor.
Which you actually did just
This is
say.
gaslighting.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not
you
gaslighting.
You literally just said to whoever was on the phone, well, it's not that big a deal. There's still water in the house. And yet you treated us like we were just garbage. You don't get to walk in our home where you don't pay rent and treat us like garbage and think that's okay. It's not okay to treat people like shit.
Her hair was not this gray 3 years ago.
No, it wasn't. But having you live here is driving me nuts. Because you're rude. The least you could do is be polite.
Nothing in this room is mine. Except the art. You can't see it, I'm showing a peace sign. Welcome back to Rainbows and Razor Blades, a show from the void. By the Gregorian calendar, it is currently the 11th day of the 10th month, the month of October, in the year of the Lord 2022. By the solar calendar, it is currently the 20th day of the year. And we come live, obviously, today from Albany's Rural Cemetery in Menands, New York. And obviously, as you can see, it's the beginning of the fall foliage. Foliage? It's one of those. I don't really have too super much that I'm going to say at this exact moment. I'll probably be back somewhere later on to talk to just myself, but for now I'm still talking to my partner, and so I'm going to record this aster. I think this is frost aster, but it could also be like heath aster, and I just don't really know the difference yet. I'm still learning my asters. There's over like 200 different types of them, and just in the cemetery alone I've documented like probably like 30 different varieties of like 6 major different archetypes. So like species, and then maybe like specific outcomes of certain species. I don't really know yet what that like taxonomical or whatever the word is for like the sub variants and stuff like that. This is quite the late bloomer. Sometimes that happens with things that have been mowed. I mean, it happens, I guess, probably with things that have also not been mowed, but definitely sometimes it happens with things that have been mowed. So yeah, we'll be back after this. Thanks for joining. Today actually marks, I think, the first real day of what feels to be autumn at the cemetery. I haven't been here because I've been on vacation, and so today is kind of a special day because it kind of leapfrogs in time from my my last episode, and I feel very much as a changed person. I feel a lot of different resolves that are they're deep, they're dark, and I don't even really know how to start broaching these subjects with people because of how dark they are and how intimate and how personal. And I guess more important than those, because that hasn't stopped me before, is the shame, and partly the pride masking that shame. And you know, I can identify these, they feel like cavities in my teeth, you know, but for my thoughts I can identify these parts of reality that need some intervention, you know, some help, some way to navigate. I'm getting two juxtaposed ideas from my closest confidants. That doesn't usually happen, not in such striking juxtaposition, even if they disagree with each other. I mean, these are like, you know, I don't necessarily distrust therapists inherently, but these are my people that I ask and I try to sort through things with. And you know, they both have, like, I wouldn't say that they're strong views. One of them is definitely a very, very strong opinion, and it may be ideological, and that's dangerous. How hard someone's willing to argue something is kind of in some ways predicated on both their personality but also their ideology, because even someone with the weirdest, most tame personality can sometimes become a zealot to an idea, and that can be the most healthy, that can be the most defining, successful trait and characteristic of your entire tribe and way of life. But it can also be individually extremely toxic and crippling to relationships, friendships, and successful life paths. So it's really one of those things where, like, being opinionated is probably biologically an advantage state in most ways. And you know, there is definitely some counter argument, or at least counterbalance to that, if not counter argument itself, it nullifies. But you know, in juxtaposition again, there's the shadow, and that is people's I'm too spun. I had an idea, but I got it too spun. Oh, don't trust me. Like, I think, right? But I could be wrong. And this is actually really important to note, that if you're wrong, it could cost lives. But you shouldn't really eat this or try to collect it. Like, never really collect a mushroom unless you're certain about it, and don't let me be the defining factor. So under it, if I can see, you can see through it. So here, I'll pick one. I don't really care. Okay, so I picked one. So it is not sporangial. You see how it's just see-through? It's not white, and then the white that there is looks like it could be mycelial of a different variety. If it'll focus. If it'll focus. Sorry, this camera is obviously not very efficient for this. Like, it's still pretty cool, but it'll go, it'll go. Will it go though? Will it? Wait. Will this work? How do I do it? What's like the way to do it? There's gotta be a trick that I just don't know. Well, anyway. There we go. Look at that. The trick is I have to move my hands a little bit. I also should get a tripod. And like a DSLR. Like, imagine. Like, seriously, imagine this episode, but POV, it looks really cool. So this is, I think, Sterium austraea. And this is a crust fungus. And the way that you can tell that this is not Trametes versicolor, the turkey tail, is because the turkey tail will be sporangial, and it'll have little spore dots. And the spore dots that it is where it will release the spores. Whereas this one is a crust fungus, and so you can see through it. That's the difference. Not so much that you can see through it. It's not translucent. That's not what I mean. Although it actually may be a little bit translucent if you held it up to the sun. Oh, when it dries out. And when it dries out, it gets very stiff in a different way. But yeah, this one is not one you would want to tincture because it has the same pattern on the bottom as it does on the top. That is not what you want. You actually want it to be white, completely white on the bottom, and you have to watch out that it's not I think it's the polytooth purple something or other, or something like that. The polytooth purple tail or something, some shit like that. The polypore purple tooth polypore. There it is. Sorry about that, guys. My brain had the information, but it's just a little scrambled. I try to take off my mask, but it's rambled, but it's a little bit too much ramble. I would sue like I'm Proctors and Gamble. Put my money down, call it some gamble. It's kind of lame, rhyming gamble with gamble. Bomb your cities to shambles. What else rhymes with shambles? I would light you a candle. That's actually hilarious. Bomb your city to shambles. I will light you a candle as I push you to a mass grave. Please put your masks on, cause you know this is a dark rave. I'll fuck you up, put you on your butt, something, 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 but then also grave. I have to come up with a better line for that last one. We'll be back after this. Thanks for joining. This one's very white, and I'm curious what's up with this. If this is new growth or this is old growth. This is probably, and I'm only guessing here, probably the violet-toothed polypore, and I could be completely wrong about that. But my guess is because it has these big spores on the bottom, and you can't see through it. So it's the same white bottom as you get with the turkey tail, but the difference is that, you know, if this is the one I think it is, that it has bigger pores. So I'm not going to put a label on this one, but I think that's what it could be. This one I'll put the label on. This is the purple clover. It's nice here today. It's actually surprisingly, shockingly still very warm. It feels like a summer day. Like I'm wearing a jacket, but it does. It feels like a summer day. I'm talking to my partner about things I've never talked about, and it's really got me fucked up. It's stuff that has been too dark to even like mention to them, because how do you even talk about what an eating disorder is? Like, it isn't just it isn't just with your food, it's everything else. And that's, I don't know what to talk to them about. I think I'm gonna call my grandmother. There's you have to wait 4 seconds once a mosquito lands on you. That's about how long. Like 1, 2, 3. It's actually, I guess, 3. And then you swat it, because if you swat before that, it won't have basically gotten caught with its pants down. You gotta wait till it can't fly away. You gotta wait till it's like stuck to you and ready to bite you, because then you can swat it. Because if you swat too early, that thing is gonna take off like the wind. Quite literally, like literally like the wind, with the wind, in fact. And it'll have been your hand that gave it the wind. Proverbs. my god. One of the good parts about having a DSLR is going to be that I can easier run like post correction, because it's higher DPI. There's more pixels for it to measure from more precisely, and you get a crisper picture. I mean, that's actually the same reason you get a crisper picture, regardless of whether or not that you're running After Effects or whatever it's called on it, luminosity and all that, whatever. Something. Oh Lord, they're coming. Oh Lord, they're coming. Oh Lord, they're coming. Oh Lord, they're coming. Lord, Lord, they're coming. Oh Lord, they're coming. That's a song by a couple of coy dogs who howl at the alpha. You're damn right. They know. They know what's good. Hell yeah. Do you have any idea how powerful they feel when that happens? They can't even help it. They get so hype. They're like, that's it. That's it. That's the alpha. This is where the Pucciana live. I've been telling y'all that joke for over a year. Now we finally have proof of the Pucciana. I still can't see any of them though. I've never actually really been over here and seen this. Wouldn't surprise me if the coy dogs come through here, or through over here. Like, through this, I'm guessing, gap in the fence. Because I know for a fact that I've been surrounded by that same pack before at night. Obviously it's not night. But, you know, there's a good amount of Puccianas back there. They're out there, man. Make no mistake, they're out there. And that's why when the alpha howls, I mean, the alpha is so much more powerful than they are. It's almost a god. I mean, think about how big that wolf is. It's got to be like the Princess Mononoke wolf, and they know it. And that's why they're howling at it. Because they hear it. They're like, yes, that's us, boys. Let's fucking go, boys. They're super hyped. I'm really impressed and glad that they did this. You know, obviously it's an impermanent sign, but it'll last certainly long enough. Obviously they reinforced the entire road here. That was definitely needed. But yeah, look, they put up 2 signs. I think that's a really good way to entice people to go this way. We're not going to do it today. But yeah, the Dellside Trail is really cool. And yeah, I'm impressed with this. You know, I was saying that maybe they should get one of these, but I never shared the idea here. You've heard me say it on my vlog a few times, actually, that, like, if you didn't know that there was a path, because even I didn't know for, like, up until I think it was, like, this year, I didn't even know. And I did know that there was a path that started, like, halfway up this ridge, but I didn't know it came all the way out here, because it was just too collapsed and too muddy. I thought the trail just kind of dead-ended, and so I would just walk up to the top of the center ridge. Right now we're going up the north ridge, and when we make it to the top, we'll look down. It's gonna be it's gonna be dark by the time I get back to my car. Actually, it's what's gonna happen. Chicory's still blooming kind of late. Hi.